In the wild west of social media stardom, few stories are as compelling or as cautionary as that of Bobbi Althoff. Her meteoric rise from suburban mom to celebrity interviewer, followed by an equally dramatic fall from grace, serves as a masterclass in how fame without foundation can crumble just as quickly as it's built. The calculated beginning. Bobbi Althoff didn't stumble into internet fame by accident. This was a woman with a plan, armed with notebooks full of content ideas and an unshakable determination to monetize her way out of what she saw as an ordinary life. Starting in November 2020, she began her digital transformation, initially experimenting with various personas and content styles until she found what worked. Her breakthrough came through a carefully crafted parody of perfectionist motherhood, the kind of content that simultaneously mocked and appealed to other moms navigating the pressure-filled world of Instagram-worthy parenting. By creating an exaggerated version of aesthetic, obsessed mothers, she tapped into both the frustration and fascination surrounding performative parenting culture. Within months, she had built a following of 3 million on TikTok, earning roughly $250,000 annually from brand deals and the Creator Fund. For many, this would have been the dream realized, but for Bobbi, it was merely the foundation for something bigger, the podcast gambit. Recognizing that viral content was unsustainable and exhausting, she was posting 10 videos daily. With many still flopping, Bobbi pivoted to podcasting. Her reasoning was purely financial. She'd seen another creator discussing their podcast earnings and decided she needed that revenue stream. Onto the Really Good Podcast, a title that seemed almost satirically confident given her deliberately unprepared interview style. But this apparent lack of preparation was actually part of a calculated persona. Bobbi positioned herself as the anti-interviewer, someone who proudly knew nothing about her guests, asked uncomfortable questions, and maintained an air of disinterested superiority throughout conversations. The approach was polarizing by design. While traditional interviewers prepared extensively and tried to make guests comfortable, Bobbi did the opposite. She embraced awkwardness, leaned into tension, and created moments that were simultaneously cringe-worthy and oddly compelling. The Drake effect. Everything changed when Bobbi landed the interview that would define her career trajectory. Through a combination of timing, boldness, and perhaps luck, she secured a conversation with Drake, conducted memorably. While both sat on a bed, the interview's awkward intimacy and Bobbi's characteristically flat delivery created a perfect storm of viral content. The numbers were staggering. Over 1 billion views and 300 million likes. Overnight, Bobbi went from moderately successful TikToker to household name. The interview demonstrated her ability to create moments that transcended typical podcast content, generating the kind of cultural conversation that money can't buy, but success came with a price. The Drake interview occurred on her daughter's first birthday, a detail that would later become a symbol of her critics' central complaint about her priorities. When Drake himself commented on this during the interview, calling her parenting choices into question, it foreshadowed the public relations challenges that would eventually consume her career. The authenticity question. As Bobbi's star rose, so did questions about the legitimacy of her success. The speed of her ascent from unknown to interviewing celebrities in mere months struck many as suspicious. Comparisons to established creators like Amelia de Moldenberg highlighted what critics saw as derivative content without the genuine charm or interviewing skill. The industry plant accusations gained traction, especially after she signed with United Talent Agency and won awards for her emerging podcast. While Bobbi consistently denied these claims, emphasizing her years of hard work and gradual build up, the perception of inauthenticity began to color public opinion of her success. More damaging was the growing sense that her interviewing persona, initially seen as a refreshing departure from fawning celebrity journalism, was actually masking a lack of genuine interest in her subjects or their work. Unlike other unconventional interviewers who used their approaches to reveal something meaningful about their guests, Bobbi's style often felt purely performative. Personal life becomes public fodder. The intersection of Bobbi's professional success and personal life created a perfect storm of controversy. Her divorce from her husband Corey, announced in February 2024, became public ammunition for critics who had already questioned her priorities and character. The timing was particularly damaging. Court documents revealed their separation date as July 4th, 2023, the same month as the Drake interview and her daughter's missed birthday. Whether factual or not, the narrative wrote itself. Bobbi had chosen fame over family, celebrity access over maternal responsibility. Her own comments about the divorce's timing didn't help matters, stating that the divorce coincided perfectly with her financial success and that she was okay once her career took off, reinforced perceptions of her as coldly calculating about personal relationships. The message seemed clear: money and fame mattered more than marriage and family stability. The downward spiral. As personal controversies mounted, Bobbi's professional momentum began to stall. The very qualities that had made her initially compelling, her detached demeanor, minimal preparation, and confrontational style, started feeling stale and even offensive to audiences who expected growth and evolution from creators they followed. Her touring partnership with comedian Funny Marco's decision to cancel shows because audiences weren't getting value for their money highlighted a fundamental issue: Bobbi's refusal to develop her craft beyond her initial gimmick. When Marco suggested improvements, she dismissed them, claiming social anxiety while simultaneously maintaining her confrontational on-screen persona. The contradiction was telling. In Walt, she presented herself as confidently dismissive of guests and critics alike, yet claimed to be too anxious to perform differently when audiences paid to see her live. It suggested that her persona was less a character choice than a limitation she was unwilling or unable to transcend. The audience turns. Perhaps most damaging to Bobbi's career was the gradual shift in audience engagement. What had once been fascination with her audacious interviewing style became anticipation of her getting roasted by increasingly prepared guests who understood her game. Interviews with artists like Offset became masterclasses in how to handle Bobbi's approach. Rather than being thrown off by her dismissive questions or unprepared style, seasoned entertainers began turning the tables, exposing the superficiality of her approach and leaving her looking genuinely rattled rather than strategically disinterested. The audience began tuning in not to see Bobbi succeed, but to watch her fail. This shift from protagonist to punching bag marked a crucial turning point in her career trajectory. The inevitable end. When Bobbi announced the end of her podcast, the response was telling. Rather than the outpouring of support that might greet a beloved creator's retirement, the reaction ranged from indifference to active celebration. Her own admission that she didn't expect to fall off as quickly as I did revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of sustainable content creation. The end came not with a bang but with a whimper: declining views, decreased engagement, and a growing sense that audiences had simply moved on to more authentic creators who offered genuine value rather than manufactured. The broader lesson. Bobbi Althoff's story serves as a cautionary tale about the difference between viral success and sustainable career building. Her initial rise demonstrated the power of strategic content creation and bold networking, but her fall illustrated the limitations of building fame without substance. In an attention economy that rewards authenticity and genuine connection, Bobbi's calculated approach to relationships, professional and personal, ultimately worked against her. Audiences eventually saw through the performance to recognize someone who seemed to view every interaction as a transaction, every relationship as a stepping stone to greater success. Her legacy isn't just about one creator's rise and fall, but about the broader challenges facing anyone trying to build lasting success in an environment that can make stars overnight and forget them just as quickly. The real tragedy isn't that Bobbi Althoff's career ended, but that it ended without her ever seeming to understand why it began in the first place. Success in the creator economy requires more than strategy and ambition. It demands authentic connection, consistent value, and the ability to evolve beyond initial gimmicks. Bobbi's story reminds us that in a world where everyone can become famous, staying famous requires something much rarer: being genuinely worth watching.